started my career with, and then I transitioned over to our Department of Homeland Security. And how I ended up in Atlanta, I got a promotion to a supervisor position. I retired 3 years ago from the feds. And as Kim said, I was too young just to sit around and do nothing. So I started my own consulting business. So if you own a business, school, house of worship, I go out and do risk assessments on those. So it's vital that we have these risk assessments conducted because we're seeing what's going on in the world today. And also on a different note, sad news today, we had General Colin Powell pass away this morning. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Great, great. Okay. Sinclair, now we see you. We can't hear you.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I apologize. I don't know what happened. I think I accidentally knocked myself offline. So thank you so much. Please forgive me. All right, everyone introduce themselves.
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah.
Gives me the great pleasure to introduce to you Miss Pamela R.J. Browne, who is like a sister to me. We've known each other, oh my gosh, what, 14, 15 years, Pam?
I think maybe a little bit longer than that.
Yes. And many people, she's from the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Those who probably know us and have seen us know that we are just like brother and sister. We argue, we compliment, and we just have a lot of fun. So she is a dynamic CEO. You've seen her bio, CEO, author, recent author, a business coach, a strategist, and an all-around intellectual giant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let Pamela talk to us about this whole pivot with power, shifting our mindset for impact. So Pamela, it is on you. You got 20 minutes, however you want to go ahead and do it. It's on you. Thank you once again.
Okay, well, thank you, Sinclair, and thank you everyone for sharing your backgrounds and so forth. Very interesting, very diverse group of professionals. It's my pleasure to meet you via Zoom. I truly miss in person. I can't even tell stories. I really miss the in-person human interaction. But however, I'm thankful for technology and that we are still able to continue to pivot, right, and to move forward. And so Sinclair has told me about this wonderful group of professionals. Primarily, he mentioned that you all are business owners, business stakeholders, entrepreneurs, and so forth. And first of all, I just want to give you the applause and for the courage to do so. It takes a lot to run your own business. I mean, am I the only person? Was it just y'all? Yeah, yes, yeah. It takes a lot. And I'm not just talking about the physical resources that it takes, but it takes a lot of your mental capacity and your mental investment and your mental commitment and the mental consistency to run your business. And not just to run your business, but to do the doggone thing well, to be exceptional about what you do. And a lot of that has to do with our mindset. I have a close to 20-year background in behavioral and mental health as a behavioral health scientist with the federal government. And then my primary role was to go out across the country and teach clinicians, primarily doctors and nurses and others in the behavioral health field, on how to work with their clients. Because many times they have the clinical or the technical approach, but not that, the hands-on being able to reach. So that was where I come to step in, like, you have all this wonderful experience, this knowledge, but how do you make it work for your clients? And so, very similarly, the same practices apply to business owners, to us, in this circle. We have a lot of experience. We know a lot about our business. We know a lot about the target audience, the people whom we serve, but how do you make it relatable? And so I was going to ask a question, and if you all could type in the chat area, and Sinclair, if you would help me to monitor the responses. I just want to know through, and I'm in the Washington, D.C. area, but I just want to know if you could list at least 2 things that you have either learned or are learning to deal with as far as running your business in a pandemic. Like what are there been two highlights of experiences for you? And just type it right in the chat area. Good morning. I see Kathy. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Kathy, we're just taking a few moments to write in the chat area about two things that you have either learned to deal with or are currently managing as far as a business owner or entrepreneur during the pandemic.
Okay.
So far, Pamela, we got marketing and networking, patience and not seeing people in person doing networking events, reaching out without in-person events and branding. Anyone else want to chime in?
Those are some really good points and very real. David, all those things that you've shared so far were definitely real prior to the pandemic, but now they are definitely on our radar.
Exactly.
Okay, in lieu of time, I'm going to thank you all for sharing. Those are some key points. I heard marketing, networking, branding, patience, dealing with the in-person, missing the human interaction of being in person and networking, all things that you're right, that we've had to deal with and are continuing to deal with. But our topic today, talking about pivot with power and shifting your mindset for impact, that has taken on a whole different meaning in the pandemic. Would you agree? Yeah, it has, because just the word pivot itself means that it's going to indicate there has to be a change. Pivot means to change. And so as we're working and managing our businesses during this pandemic, we've had to pivot. We've had to change. You've had to change your attitude. You may have had to change some business aspects. You may have had to change some business goals. You might have had to revisit your mission and your vision for your business. That's all part of the pivoting. But then you tie in, as you see in the next part of the topic, it says, but your mindset, your attitude, because when I'm thinking about your attitude influences your thinking, and your thinking influences your behavior. And then your behavior is part of your action plan. And so I just want to leave you real quick with 4 points of what it's going to take as we pivot through this pandemic. The first one is working smarter. We have to work smarter. And when we were having our earlier conversation, I heard Stacy talk about, the power of, assessment, right? Taking a look, evaluation of what's going on with your business. That is critical, especially now, because when you started your business, whether it was before the pandemic or even during it, you have to pay attention to what's going on in your particular market. So, but you have to take the initiative to go out and look at that information. So I do what we call, anybody familiar with a SWOT analysis, SWOT?
Yes.
Okay, so that SWOT, that acronym stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I do personally, as far as my business and my personal life, I do a SWOT analysis quarterly because it changes. It's a fluid document. So if you haven't adopted it, it's an easy tool. Just take down, like right now, everybody write down in the chat box one of your strengths as far as your business. What is a strength that you would identify? At least one of your strengths. Sinclair, what you're seeing in the chat box as far as what are folks responding to as their strengths?
Movability, communication. Another is communication, passion for the product. Yeah, I got one. Yeah, 2 communications, 1 movability, passion for the product.
Okay, all right. Those are some great strengths, great strengths. Okay, so now that you shared that, what would you identify as a weakness that you have regarding your business? At least one.
Okay, just waiting on the chat, folks, to come through.
Okay,
One, it says lack of marketing. Was it lack of marketing skills, doing RFPs, lack of marketing? I'm going to add mine in, which is lazy, dealing with lazy people.
okay, okay. That's a whole different session right there. But this is some good stuff. And thank you all for being authentic and transparent. You know, you're absolutely right. First of all, did you find it easier to identify your strengths, or did you find it easier to identify your weakness?
I think the strengths are always easier to me. You know, when someone asks your weaknesses, you have to think long and hard and say, okay, what do I have as a weakness? And I know in my industry is security, when you're doing vulnerability assessments, I mean, I'm out there looking for the weaknesses. So that was kind of hard for me to think of.
Good stuff. Good.
Oh,
Okay.
Pam, we have one that just added, trying to do too much multitasking.
Trying to do too much multitasking. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You know, it's only 24 hours in a day, and you are one person. So when we talk about, you know, our first point is working smarter, that means that we're going to have to prioritize. You can't get it all done, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself with that things to do list. So I tell people, I said, realistically, when you're helping, you know, prioritize, and you're looking at deadlines and looking at the urgency of completing certain things. You know, that's helping us to work smarter. This whole going through this assessment. I saw someone had lack of marketing, I think it was, or something like that. You know, marketing is critical. First of all, we are our own marketing ambassador. Working smarter, you know, our timeliness, our readiness, our relatability. Are you relatable with what, you know, with the product? You know, you might have a nice product, but your target audience, it might not be relatable. That's why it's so important to do the assessment. You know, I talked about working with clinicians. Well, my job was to help those clinicians to be more relatable with their clients and with their patients. Same principles for us. You know, one of my business coaches shared with me years ago, he said, keep it simple. Keep your message simple. Go straight to the point. And he said, and move the fluff. People, especially now, we don't even have time to entertain fluff. You know, just get straight to the point, right? You know, a 1, 2, 3. You know, I have to applaud, oh boy, I think it was Michelle. When Michelle did her introductions, Michelle, I heard you really well, and you mentioned your mission, your vision, and your pitch all with it. How many seconds did you give us, Sinclair? 15 seconds? Michelle, you hit it in 15 seconds. That's working smarter point. You know, people don't have a lot of time. You know, even in your emails, don't write an email that's a page. People, I'm skimming. Get straight to the point, right? And another thing, when you're talking about working smarter and talking about your personal credibility and your reputation, please do spell check. Please do a grammar check. This might seem elementary, but trust me, it's representing who you are, that marketing piece. Just take a few moments to do a spell check, to do a grammar check, to make sure you're conveying that message. Because when I'm telling you, another turnoff, if people see too many errors, spelling errors, grammar errors, they won't take you seriously. So these are just some small things that really become big things. Okay, so we talked about the S, the strengths, we talked about the weaknesses, the O in SWOT, opportunities. what opportunities, if you take a moment in that chat and list one opportunity that you currently see for your business. One thing that you might see currently as an opportunity for your business. Could it be an opportunity to network? Could it be an opportunity to expand your services? What other things could you or could it be an opportunity maybe to consider a business partner?
Okay, one, I got being more visible online. We have Eartha, our residential nurse, as well as CPR training. She said adding additional testing services. I have on there using LinkedIn as a better source of networking, expanding my services where I can make businesses safer. Anyone else want to chime in?
You all, this is some great information, great information. You know, I want to talk about, you know, being more visible online. We're living in a digital age, right? And actually, it has even become easier, or let me say more efficient, to use, you know, digital and social media means to get your information out and to engage your audiences. But one thing, it takes a lot to manage being online. It takes a lot because, again, we're talking about time, we're talking about people's attention span, and people are looking, they want to, are you being authentic? You know, and the other word is consistency. Are you being consistent? Now, if you're choosing to go the digital route, you can't show up online every 3 to 6 months about talking about your product. Again, people won't, they need the presence, right? They need your presence. So again, putting that information out, making sure that it's representing you and representing you well, and also that you're able to come through whatever that service is. Okay. Anything else in there as far as opportunities?
Yes, those expanding my business online into the government.
Okay, okay. Let me just talk before we go to the T for threat, expanding on your business online into the government, right? Again, when you're talking about going through these processes, again, remember, we're pivoting through a what? Pandemic. So it's so key to be efficient with whatever that information is that you have, networking, knowing who, you know, we take up so much time trying to figure out who should I be sending this document to? Who should I be reaching out to? You have to do your homework. You have to be persistent. And again, we also have to realize, I don't know about you all, and I live in the nation's capital. Everybody ain't in their office. They just, so I'm waiting for responses. I see you all smiling. You're waiting for responses and phone calls. In other words, business is not being done as usual. So you have to pack that patience. I know we talked about patience earlier. You have to pack your patience. You have to be persistent. And as well, follow up is key. Follow, just don't call or send one email. Be gracious. I'm following up again to see, you know, when, you know, can I get an answer by? Put some close-ended outcomes there. Okay, good. Now, what about the T, the threats? Can you think of any threats currently that might involve your business? Anything that you might find as a threat? I know for me is mismanagement of time sometimes.
Okay, we have one person said myself, very introverted. I would say for myself, people not taking this pandemic seriously, so that we can, people, you know, we were closed for some time, we open back up and, you know, don't want to go back and doing that again. We have someone said larger companies absorbing smaller firms. Another person said slacking on my end.
Can I add? I think I had a little bit more than the type in.
Oh, my,
I just wanted to say on my piece, right, again, one of the things that I see a lot is just trying to be preventative, meaning get out in front of the situation when it comes to vulnerabilities. But I think we live in a world where we're reactionary. So I don't get any informational hits, if you will, until something happens. And when that does happen, it's too late. So that's the fight I have to deal with all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good stuff. Yeah, again, this is all part of that, pivoting with power, being aware. This is all an assessment. The slacking on my end. I saw someone mention that they are an introvert, lack of qualified staff in the service industry. We have a lot going on as entrepreneurs that we have to contend with. And I also saw larger companies observing smaller firms, right? So again, part of the working smarter, my next point was working faster, being bolder and being better, is that it's your mindset is what's going to make you stand out from the rest, right? So there's several McDonald's restaurants, right? Or Chick-fil-A's or whatever. But you all will notice it's what many times it's the customer service that will bring you back to a business, right? Dr. Maya Angelou says, it's a quote, I'll paraphrase it, but she talked about people might not remember what you said about them, but they will remember how you made them feel. That's so applicable to our businesses, whether you're an introvert, extrovert, whether your business is totally digital, online, hybrid, or whatever. People will remember how you made them feel. So you have to think of your business not just as an individual task, but the entire experience of what you're offering from beginning to the end. How do you make your client? How did you make your customer? How did you make that patient? I see we have some healthcare professionals on the line. How did you make that individual feel? How did you make that other business that you're working with feel? And you can't get so reactionary, as what I heard Stacy saying. You can't get reactionary to what the other person does or says to you. You have to, your mindset has to be, I've got to give it my best, because that's all that we have control of. I only have control of Pam, right? But that pivoting is that I put myself in a position to to plan and for change. Just like this morning with Sinclair, I know that you did all your best as far as the technical piece of setting up, getting us ready for this morning, getting the word out about today's session, and we still had a glitch, right? And we'll have those in our business life. We'll have that in our entrepreneur life. But the key is when those glitches, when those challenges, when those obstacles come, are you able to pivot? Meaning, can you move past the glitch? And that's what I'm telling you, that's what this pandemic has shown us thus far. We are still living in it. We are still working in it. You all are right down in there, the headquarters of the CDC. I tell you, I watch the guidelines change from day to day. So part of our planning is planning for the unexpected. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do, but that's what part of the pivoting process is. It's your mindset. It's making sure in alignment of what your mission, your vision, my goals. Another thing is when we're setting goals for our businesses, it's okay to revisit them. You have to revisit your goals. You have to revisit your mission and your vision. And again, to stay relatable. Any comments, any questions? Because I see that that time went by fast. It's almost 9:35.
Pam, got a question for you. I know you said working smarter. My question is, I know when we pivot with power, everything is a mindset. We hear two different business advice. We hear one person may say, you got to constantly work. It's almost to the point whereby there's no sleep, there's no rest. You're constantly pouring into your business. And then we hear the other spectrum, working smarter to the point, yes, you go to work hard, you go work smart, but you have to take care of self. How can someone balance that between, those two extreme, one extreme and the other extreme?
Right, right. And you're absolutely right. We do hear both perspectives a lot. I think one thing is you have to do an assessment of yourself, right? You have to be realistic on who am I? What can, like for me, my best time to work is in the morning. That's I'm not a night person, so I know that about myself. I also know that structure helps as far as having a calendar, setting alerts, writing things down to help me to stay on task, a things to do list. But also, there's a quote that says for entrepreneurs, we're going to put in 100 hours a week toward our work because it's our own business versus the 40 hours that we do working for somebody else and making them richer or making them more powerful. So it is going to involve some extra. It is going to involve some sacrifice, but it shouldn't be at the compromise or jeopardizing where you're losing your soul. Because when you start losing your soul, you start losing your passion, your energy starts to change, your vibes start to change, your attitude starts to change. And then some people just withdraw. I just can't do this anymore. So striking that personal balance, and your balance is going to look different from mine, but just knowing what's going to work best for you.
Kim just chatted getting rid of time killers and always remembering self-care.
Mhm. Kim, what, if I might ask, what were you referencing when you mentioned getting rid of the time killers?
Things that suck up your time, like scrolling through social media, just things that aren't serving your better good, where you're wasting a lot of time. Just for myself, I got rid of for, I guess, temporarily, Facebook and Instagram, because I saw myself just scrolling, wasting time. And we were talking about it before we started recording. You can't get your time back. So during that time that I'm scrolling, I could be reading a book, I could be, learning a new skill or doing something productive. So that's personal. But then you also have, you may have family members or friends. You're trying to be productive, but they want to, steal your time. So I think you have to have a balance. And as far as remember self-care, you can't help your business if you're not well. So.
Absolutely. That time is critical. And thank you for sharing that. Again, some people, but your business might be so reliant on social media or reliant on your, engagement on email. But I think what helps is if you set those times that I'm going to be online versus just, going in it any kind of way. If I said from a 9 to 10, that's my time to check my email. And then I'm going to get back to other things because it becomes a distraction. And before you know it, like Kim, you were saying, you'll be scrolling and reading things, and then you'll click on a link and that'll open up another topic that's interesting to you. And you've easily gone through an hour, almost 2 hours, just on one thing, right? So that's so critical. Another thing is, excuse me, what I've learned for me is the time that I spend on the telephone. Some people like to go on and on and on and on and on. So your time is precious and I respect other people's time. So if I can say that I can only commit to 15 minutes on this call, I have to be true to myself. That's part of that self-care plan. I can only dedicate 15 minutes. Or I can say from 3 to 5, it's going to be my time to respond to emails and phone calls for my day. But I've blocked that time again to help that structure, to help me to keep balance, to dedicate time and efforts to other tasks.
Perfect. Anybody else got a question?
Really been good.
Okay, Michelle.
This has really been good. I think I'm gonna go backwards up my list that about taking care of yourself and knowing what you need to do. So that's why since I've been restructured out of a day job and working on this full time, Fridays are really my day, my personal day. We all have errands to take care of. We have things to do. And then when you work for yourself, you can work from sun up to sundown. Now everything is closed. So I designate that day. So during the week, I don't have to think about, oh, I should have done this. I could have done that. I didn't do this. So that kind of helps to have that. Everybody may not be able to do that, but it's something. And I was the one who commented about the smaller firms. as threats because, I mean, the absorbing of smaller firms, there's a lot of mergers that take place. Sprint and T-Mobile merge, this one and this one merge. So when you're a small business, you can't always compete with the bigger people because now they can offer these discounts, they can offer this, you may not have that to offer. But when you do come with your best self, that does help. I just worked a new client I worked with recently. I sent her some follow-up information and the email reply back was, "This is great. Thank you. This helps." And that made me feel good. It's okay. That, you're getting something done right there. And about that online presence, never thought I'd be on YouTube, ever, but I had to do something. We were stuck at home. You have to be able to do something. And you're right about the mistakes. When I'm putting content together for my newsletter, the YouTube or anything else or LinkedIn, I'm almost like an editor at that point. I got to go back and reread until I make no corrections, then I'm ready to post. So that's important. And that elevator pitch, because I know marketing, I said that's not, that's a lack of there. I attended this program. Actually, I taught at the program in the first class, and then I was able to attend some of the sessions. And that's one of the things we learned. I said, I have to get this elevator pitch down because I don't know what event I was at with Sinclair. He was up saying his, and we had to do that. I think it was at the library, one of the first times we met. So you have to keep learning to how to get those things correct. So I finally got it down. So thank you for that. But just wanted to share in with all of this. And thank you for the information because we really do need to learn how to pivot.
Great, good.
Anyone else want to chime in? Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, I'll chime in real quick. I know, Michelle, you guys talked about the big company firms absorbing the smaller firms. And I just wanted to say, don't be intimidated by that. A lot of times you may not think you're going to win a project, but another thing you can do, you don't have to be the prime on everything. You can be the sub, meaning you can team up with that big firm. And if that big firm is going to drop me $10,000, I'm satisfied with that. I don't need, I'll take the 50 or 60,000, but I'm happy with that. So just keep that in mind. You can always be the sub. And I've done that before, work with a big company because they like my skill set and they wanted to bring me on to assist them with the project. So just keep that in mind.
That's a great point. And two, people now, because we have so many options, we have so many choices, so I look at those as opportunities to help to prove my track record, right? My rapport with working with other industries, with other businesses. And you never know, again, what, you do a great job at with that particular contract, which might open the door most of the time for larger contracts or expansion. So, as they say, don't sweat the small stuff because the small stuff can really become big stuff and great stuff. But again, it's your mindset.
Excellent. Anyone else want to chime in? We got 5 minutes left. I know everyone's busy. I want to thank everyone, but anyone got any comments, any questions? You got 5. Let's try to wrap it up in 5 minutes. Anyone, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, no one has anything to say. All right, Pam, anything you want to close? Well, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Let me give some of those who came in a little bit late. I know you had meetings, give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. I gave everyone 15 seconds, but leave it or not, normally I give everyone, 7 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick on Eartha.
Good morning, everyone. I do apologize, as Sinclair said, I did have a meeting. So I'm Eartha with Postkeeper CPR. We provide CPR and first aid training for people of all skills levels because we believe that everyone who knows anyone with a beating heart should know how to help hearts restart. I'm Eartha with Postkeeper CPR.
Thank you, Eartha. Kathy.
All right, yes, good morning. Kathy Bethune with Banco ZK. My apologies as well for entering the meeting late. I am a commercial banker that connect with business owners and provide financial solutions and services, primarily on the lending side. Kathy Bethune with Banco ZK. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. We're gonna go with Rose.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry for being late also, with the 4 of us in another meeting in the morning. I'm I'm Rose Lovelace with Path Medic. We are a home health agency and a medical equipment and supplies company. We bring healthcare to your comfort level, and we strive to always bring your stress level down. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. And Miss Twana.
Good morning, Tawanya Smith with Right Choice Motors, a used car dealership located in Covington, and also Barra Products, which is an online store. I just want to add this a little bit. When you're talking about pivot, it came to me that in order for something to pivot off something, the leg that it's standing on has to be strong. So I am now trying to build a strong leg so that I can actually pivot. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Did I miss anyone? I didn't miss anyone. Okay, perfect. Thank you all so much. This will be going up later on, and you will have it in your email with the YouTube link. So Pamela, thank you so much, Pamela. Always a pleasure.
Thank you all. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. So Pamela, you got the last minute. Leave. Well, first of all, let people know how they can get in contact with you if they need your services. And tell people about your book real quick. Matt, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. Tell people about your new book and how people can get in contact with you and all that good stuff.
Sure. Thank you all again for your engagement and checking in and participating on this morning. My name again is Pamela Browne, and I am the owner of an organization called Power Up Life Boss. And my mission and vision for our business is to encourage and empower the best version of you. I'm a new author. The name of the book is called You Got This. And it's a book about self-awareness and business and intentions, good intentions to do the best things for you. You can reach me at my website at www.PamelaRBrowne. My Brown has an E on the end, that's key.com. Again, that's www.PamelaRBrowne.com. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Pamela. I appreciate everybody. Have a great day. Remember to follow up, to network, and to work smart. Have a good one, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody.
Have a wonderful day.
All right.